Hey, what's up everybody? I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another video. Today we continue our conversation about the GFX 100 RF, and I know that you've probably seen loads and loads of videos on this, so I'm not going to give it too much of an introduction, but I will say that it is Fujifilm's latest medium format compact camera, and I know it sounds weird to say that in the same sentence because medium format and compact don't really go well together, but I just wanted to talk about this a little bit more because I've been out and about for 3 days doing some street photography, putting it through its paces, and I just wanted to share my opinions and share some images with you guys so you get an idea of what's going on. Now, right off the bat, I know that if you saw my last video, you know that I was kind of hating on this dial over here, which is the aspect ratio dial. And and let me just be clear, it's got nothing to do with aspect ratio, it's to do with the placement of the dial. And whilst I have been out, and obviously like anything, you get used to things, right? I have become a little bit more accustomed to using the dial, and it doesn't, I suppose, look as strange and awkward as I have thought, as I first thought. Anyway, one of the things I did find with the dial was that for me and my particular use case, I only shoot in native 4:3 aspect ratio or digital XPan, which is 65 by 24. And what I found that actually is I just memorized where XPan was on this. So all I did was just 1, 2, 3 in the clockwise direction, and that took me to XPan. And then if I wanted to go back to full sensor aspect ratio, I would go 1, 2, 3 in the anti-clockwise direction. And so actually in my last video I showed you how on my GFX 102 I've got a button at the front just here, which obviously there isn't one on this camera. If you click that, you can cycle through all the aspect ratios, and I thought that was much easier than kind of doing this and looking at this tiny little window. Actually what I realized is that first of all it tells you what the aspect ratio is on the screen. I'm going to try and demonstrate that to you now. We can see that there. If I just swing that aspect ratio around, you should see it in the top corner just there. You'll see the aspect ratio changing. So you don't actually need to look at the dial. But what made it really easy for me was, of course, just knowing where XPan was. And obviously, if you shoot lots of different aspect ratios, then you're going to have to try and memorize all of the locations around the scroll wheel for that. But if you just shoot XPan like I do, and then just go between the two aspect ratios, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And that just made it really easy. And actually, it became easier than my GFX 102 because I'm not having to look at the screen or anything. I could be walking about, looking at compositions and thinking I want to do that in XPan. So 1, 2, 3, and I just switch over. So yeah, actually the implementation is better than I thought, and I'm happy to eat my words. If I was wearing a hat, I'd eat my hat. Yes, it is an excellent idea. I just kind of wish it wasn't like that at the back. I don't know. And I realized actually that these two dots tell you that it's centered, and I didn't quite think about that when I did my first impressions video. I thought it was a button. I thought it was like an extra kind of custom button that I can use, but you can't. Anyway, I did have a blast of a time with this camera. I went to Birmingham city centre, which is about 80 miles from me. I'm based in Peterborough. And Birmingham is very kind of metropolitan, so high-rise buildings and stuff like that. So I wanted to kind of capture some cityscapes and general street photography, which I did, and I enjoyed myself. I also went to Cambridge, which is about 40 miles south of here. And Cambridge is obviously a very iconic city, very historical, and I wanted to capture some images there, so I went there as well. And I also went out into Peterborough, which is my hometown or home city. And it is a bit dull, yes, and if you're watching this video and you're from Peterborough, you might agree with me. It's okay. There's not a lot to photograph once you've been around photographing it all. It's kind of the same. So yeah, I had a really good time. Now, the whole thing about, and I know I talked about this in my previous video, the whole thing about medium format, I really kind of started to understand why Fujifilm designed a camera like this, because it made me realize that, obviously I talked about this in my last video, that the GFX 102 gives you ridiculously out of focus backgrounds. The separation, that medium format look, especially when you start adapting full frame lenses, if they cover the sensor, you get like a crazy amount of out of focus areas, and it really gives you that medium format look, which obviously you're not going to get on this because this is an f4 lens. So it's obviously not about that. Obviously it's about the image quality because it's 102 megapixels, but when you're cropping in, you're kind of, I suppose in my head, what I started to realize is that it's medium format, which allows me to crop in and still have excellent image quality. Whereas on the X100VI, which I used previous to this, I never used the digital teleconverter. I just didn't want to. I know it's an APS-C camera, and I know that APS-C cameras just don't give you the same clarity as full frame or medium format, and I know that I might kind of upset a lot of people by saying that, and the X100VI is an incredible camera. It's very sharp, it produces beautiful images, it really does. It's no slouch of a camera, but if you compare full frame image quality to APS-C or image quality, you will see that because those pixels are bigger, you do get more clarity. There's obviously more light coming into full frame sensors, and then there's even more light coming into medium format sensors. So when you crop, you're still getting a ridiculous amount of image quality because of all of those photo diodes or photo sites or whatever you call them are obviously a lot bigger. Even though there's 102 million of them in this camera, they're obviously a lot bigger. They let more light in, more clarity, more image quality, more detail. So, you know, when you're out and about, don't be scared to crop. Honestly, like, frame your image, compose, crop if you have to, and snap away, because you are not going to be worried, well, especially when you come back into Lightroom, you're not going to be like, oh wow, that's poor image quality. It's not, unless you're shooting in really low light at 12,800 ISO, then yes, that's to be expected, but I wouldn't be using this camera for that, right? So, so anyway, yes, I had a great time, really enjoyed it. And what I wanted to share with you was some images that I captured across the 3 cities, and how much I just am really excited about those images, because composing in XPan in my camera, and when I got back to the computer, I was just really happy with the results that I got. If you're using raw files and you head back into Lightroom and you look at the crop, you can actually adjust the crop, right? Because XPan uses the middle portion of your sensor. So when you got XPan, let me just show you. Okay, there's XPan. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, so it's obviously using the center part of the sensor, which kind of makes sense because that's probably the sharpest part. So obviously in post, you can just kind of drag that up and down and recompose. I know that's cheating, but hey ho, it is what it is. But yeah, look, it was an incredible experience. I loved it. I went out to those 3 cities back to back every single day, and I would have gone out today as well, but I thought I've got to get this video out. So here are some of the images that I have captured. I hope you like them. If you do, please do leave a comment in the comment section below. I actually would be really interested to hear from other street photographers. If you enjoy this, and if you think that I've done a half decent job on street photography, please do let me know. Let me know what you think about image quality. Oh, and by the way, all of the images were shot in Acros, because that was just the mood that I was in, especially when I was doing the cityscape stuff. I wanted to kind of get contrast. I wanted to see contrast, and those are the images that I wanted to capture. So anyway, I really do hope you enjoy those images. Let me know what you think, and yeah, until next time in the next video, take care.